Hi, I'm Mezick, and here we are doing our second segment with Mr. Paul Mezick. And we left last time when he was talking about his teacher. He was talking about his favorite teacher, and my goodness, she was his favorite teacher because she was good to the football players, but more importantly, she was good looking. That's good enough reason, I think. Anyway, so we move along. We move right along to your football coach. Your football coach was Judah Cantrell. Tell us a little. He was your coach in the 9th grade and 10th, I believe. Tell us a little bit about him.
Well, Judah came from the Net, Alabama. He was a real good young coach, and he thought he could outrun any football player, and he could out-kick any football player because he was a star on the Auburn Tigers. So therefore, everybody wanted to kind of challenge him as to what he could do. But we had a fellow that was pretty good for himself, and he was named I can't think of his name right now. Charles Gilmer. Charles Gilmer could do the same thing that the coach could do, and he challenged the coach, and the coach took him up on it. And would you believe that he beat him in all 3 of those topics? And by doing that, the coach says, I relinquish my kingdomship to him because I think he's that much better of a football player. And for that reason, we all gave Charles Gilmer the share of winnings and pennants for the rest of the year. And believe it or not, we didn't lose another game after that.
My goodness. Now, your senior year, Mr. Hal White was your head football coach. What do you remember about him?
Well, he just came in for the 1 year, and of course we had really got used to the coach we had for the last 2 years, and we liked him too. So therefore, when we got this new coach, he was kind of a stranger to us, but the fact is that he was a real good coach, and he liked the players, and the players liked him, and they played a little bit harder because he was new. But we didn't do as well win-wise with a win-loss column, but we did win half of our games, and for that reason, we forgave him. This man moved to Bruton, and a lot of us went down there in the following years to see the coach because we were impressed with him to the point that he was a winner, and for that reason, we kind of gave him the recognition that he deserved.
Okay, that's very good. Now, while in high school, you were the left end, but that was on offense. On defense, you played right tackle. How big were the people you played against? Were they about your size? Were they bigger at that time? Can you remember?
Yeah, being an end kind of helped a little bit, not being as heavy, but I was tall, and it gave me an opportunity to use a lot of fakes and things on some of the heavier guys. So it kind of equaled itself out. But being small was the drawback because by this time, the 3 years that we'd conditioned, we'd gotten pretty good shape, and then we could more or less handle ourselves. We were able to stand up for ourselves to the point that we could just about match them man to man, and for that reason we had a good successful last 2 years, and for that reason that we're real proud that we were able to accomplish what we did the 3 years that we played for Opelika High School.
That is that's a good explanation. Now, moving right along, tell us about your favorite girlfriend in high school, or did you have a girlfriend, or did you have time for girls while you were in high school?
Well, yeah, I had time for girls, but I don't know if some of them didn't have much time for us because we spent so much time on the field out there sometimes we got behind. But being an old Pepperell boy and going to Opelika High, we kind of didn't do as well with the girls as some of the Opelika boys, and I think maybe they are sorry that they treated us so bad. But eventually, though, we found our way, and by doing that, we feel that we accomplished just about as much, boy and girl, as the Opelika boys did compared to what we did when we was in high school there.
It sounds as similar as Baker against Columbus High. You know, it sounds almost like it. and I don't want to go into that subject
Yeah.
because otherwise we lose time. Okay, now moving right along, what about disciplinary actions at Opelika High? In other words, when a young man, when he committed an error or an improper act, and he was sent to the office for discipline. I understand that Mrs. Your high school principal was a lady, because all the fellows, they were in World War II. They were participating in the war efforts. And how did she handle disciplinary actions?
Well, we had Miss Martin was our main principal, and then we had another lady, was Miss Barnett. Miss Barnett was very attractive, but she was married and had her son was a senior with us in high school. But then Miss Barnett, she was tall and she was fairly attractive, but she could could put the scare in you much better than Miss Collins could. So therefore, we catered to Miss Collins as little as we had to, and then Miss Martin was the one that we was fearful of, because she was the one that could crack the whip.
I see. Very interesting. But you guys from Pepperell, after school, do y'all have to work back? Were y'all working in the mills cleaning up on the cleanup crews?
Right. We worked on the weekends more or less on a work deal, because they would let us clean up in the top of the buildings, which had the old shafts and everything. They got grease and dust in them, and they had to be cleaned every week, because that cotton was so bad that water would mix with it, and sometimes it was hard to breathe. But that was typical cotton mill for you. But after we got used to it, after certain periods of time, then we was able to overcome it, and found a lot of different ways that we could protect ourselves by having masks and things of that nature. But we was able to earn good pay, and therefore was able to continue on with our education by going on to Auburn College at the time after we graduated.
Very good. You graduated in 1945. And then, after high school, World War II. You were drafted after high school and went to Camp Robertson in Little Rock, Arkansas. You were there for a total of 26 weeks, which was your basic training, and also you had military police MP training. Camp Robertson, Camp Robertson also had German prisoners at that time, and so as I mentioned earlier, he was trained not only as a regular MP, but as a motorcycle MP. Was shipped to Europe. Was shipped to Europe, to Vienna, and the stories goes on from here on out. Where he was in Austria, where he helped patrol the German towns. He was over in Europe for over a year. But at this time, we're going to stop this segment again, because we're going to talk about World War II and Becker High. So stay with us, and we'll see you back in a few minutes. Thanks.